A very good afternoon to you, and thank you for joining us. This is JoyNews Today. My name is Denisia Pomaije. In our headlines, crude oil prices fall below levels recorded before closure of Strait of Hormuz. This afternoon, we explore what this means for prices of petroleum products at the pumps. And minority accuses the government of placing an unbearable burden on Guineans through repeated increases in utility tariffs and demands a review of the hikes, warning of growing pressure on households and businesses.
The NDC campaigned loudly on reducing the cost of utilities, easing the burden on households, and fixing the energy sector. 18 months into their tenure, Ghanaians are paying 26.82% more for electricity.
Also, family of late Apostle Kojo Safo accused the police of failure to diligently prosecute suspects initially arrested in connection with the shooting of former Member of Parliament for Domiko Abinya Sarah Adjoa Safo.
Your demands?
Not at all. We need justice. I mean, in Ghana these days, as we speak now, most of these people that we have them incarcerated now, what we hear, all we hear is that their statement or their actions were trying to injure the reputation or something of.
We're live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125, and on all socials. We're JoyNews on TV and around the world at myjoyonline.com. Please stay for details. Welcome. It's an absolute delight to have you back. Crude oil is now trading around the levels seen in February before the Strait of Hormuz crisis triggered a sharp increase in global energy prices and fuel costs in Ghana. With international crude prices returning to pre-crisis levels, the question is whether this decline will eventually translate into relief for consumers at the pumps. We'll be speaking shortly with the Executive Secretary of Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC. But first, research analyst here, JoyNews, Caleb Ziblim, joins me via Zoom with more on this story. So, Caleb, what has been the interaction between international crude and fuel prices here in Ghana?
Yes, Poma. So before the Iran, Israel, and US conflict escalated, fuel prices in Ghana had fallen significantly. In fact, around February, petrol was selling for about 10 cedis per liter, while diesel was hovering around 11 to 12 cedis per liter. So, and that was also some of the lowest prices we've seen in quite a while. Now, at the time, crude oil prices on the international markets were relatively stable. They were trading about $60 to $70 per barrel. However, once the tensions in the Middle East escalated, crude prices surged sharply. At one point, prices almost reached $120 per barrel. And because of that, on the domestic front, diesel prices rose to about $17 per liter, while some stations sold petrol around 15 cedis per liter. Now, following the ceasefire and signs of de-escalation, crude oil prices have eased again. At my last check, crude was trading around $72 per barrel, and that's good news because lower crude oil prices generally translate into lower prices for refined petroleum products. So that's good. Now, to the question of why Ghanaian consumers are not feeling it yet, we need to understand how the sector works. The National Petroleum Authority, or the NPA, operates a 2-week pricing window. And during each window, the NPA sets a minimum price floor for petroleum products that the OMCs cannot sell below within that period. Currently, the current pricing window is in force until next week, Tuesday. So if consumers are going to see any relief, we should expect it following Tuesday, that's Wednesday, 1st July. So even though international prices are falling, the existing price floor remains in place until the current pricing window expires. Once the window expires, the NPA usually reviews the developments on the international markets. They also assess the exchange rate movements and calculate new price floors for the next pricing window. That is when consumers are more likely to see the impact of the recent decline in crude oil prices. So we should expect to see some decline next week, Wednesday. Now, there's another factor, and then most of the OMCs are not selling fuel that they purchased today at today's international prices. The fuel currently being sold at most filling stations was imported and stocked days and even weeks ago when petroleum prices were much higher. And naturally, those companies must recover the cost of their stock before lower prices will be collected at the pumps. Now, the encouraging news is that the companies currently restocking now are doing so at lower international prices. And that means the next pricing window should capture much of this relief. Now, again, the data from the MPA also suggests that diesel could see a steeper reduction than petrol coming Wednesday. The city has also remained relatively strong, which supports lower pump prices next week, Wednesday. So the short answer is that the international markets has begun improving, yes, but then Ghana's pricing system operates with a lag. And then the relief is that during the next pricing window that starts on Wednesday, we should see some effects. And very simply, it means that because of the way Ghana's industry is structured, we do not see immediate relief at the pumps whenever there's an adjustment in international prices.
All right. Thank you so much, Caleb Ziblim. He's member of our research desk here at Joy News. Now let's go on Zoom and engage Duncan Amwa. He's Executive Secretary of COPEC. Thanks for joining us. We've seen a drop in international crude prices, but shouldn't we be seeing a corresponding drop in fuel prices here as well?
Let me say good afternoon to your viewers. Good afternoon to Ghana. Indeed, prices have tumbled to about $69 as we speak this morning, which is even far lower than what you saw pre-war levels. And so that should give a lot of relief globally. You heard President Trump suggest that some of the oil majors here in America have simply, declined to go down on prices. Just like Caleb explained, there's a certain lag as far as fuel pricing is concerned. You do not get the impacts immediate, particularly when you are moving product from crude to finished product because of the refining process. It takes a bit of time, and I have said that it usually will do about 7 days interval. What it means again for the Ghanaian market is that you are likely to see some reductions, like Caleb alluded to, just that petrol would likely go down a lot more than diesel for the window coming up next week. Again, commendation goes to the Bank of Ghana. The cedi, unlike 2-3 weeks ago when it was quite turbulent, you find the cedi also relatively quite stable and has even made some significant gains. And so, give or take, for us at COPEC, the expectation will be that we could do about 10% for petrol. Diesel could do about 6-7%. LPG could be doing about 5-6% coming Tuesday. Don't also forget that the lower prices you are seeing globally is expedited by the 32 countries that form a membership of the International Energy Agency, who decided that some 400 million barrels of crude should be put out there on the market. They have largely stabilized the international market. So as we speak, once products begin moving out of the Strait of Hormuz, with American pumping, record levels at around 13.3 million barrels daily, today, what it does mean is that there's a global oversupply. And I think that in the coming days, you would see OPEC and then OPEC Plus membership move towards consolidating some of the numbers or cutting back on production volumes. If that is not done, we'll revert to the glut we saw pre-war levels. And that will mean that oil prices could even decline all the way to the 50s. And for countries like Ghana, it's a chicken and egg situation. You produce and export oil. And so when you have very lower prices, it would hit your budget because you also are exporting and expecting a certain income. As we speak today, President of the Republic is expected at the Central Refinery to also commission the Phase 2 project. What it does mean is that globally, over the past 1 year, we saw about some additional 620,000 barrels for refining products coming on stream, whilst the throughput was about 800,790. So there's an oversupply situation as we speak.
Okay.
The world is also gravitating towards EV vehicles. If you go through the likes of China and even in Ghana, where we are coming from, a lot of your cars are now modernizing to the Chinese EVs and other EVs coming on. So demand contraction exists. There's global oversupply, and that is explaining why you are able to move directly from the 120s, the 90s, to the 69 as you have it this morning.
Okay.
And we expect that this would impact prices locally, sharply.
Do you think that the NPA should reconsider this 2-week price floor window so that when there's a drop in international prices, it immediately reflects at the pump?
I have said this time without number that the NPA has no business at all dictating prices. It was the same system we had that we decided in June 2015 to abolish, that the NPA is, revisiting. The government said we do not have money to pay for any subsidy. So therefore, market prices would be a function of, full cost recovery plus margin. Now you have a situation where the market has been able to evolve to a point where competition became very steep between the companies. Then the authority, who does not buy or sell fuel, now sits and decides to dictate prices. As an authority that regulates, one would have expected that in a deregulated environment, you allow the market factors to play out. This 2-week window publishing of how do you call that, the price floor.
Yeah.
What it means is that even if an oil marketing company as of today could go down on prices, the NPA has put a floor. You cannot go down till you wait for the 2-week window. I think that system has got to give way somewhat so that the consumer can feel the full benefit of some of these, pricing dynamics as we see in it. You cannot afford to have the NPA dictate that don't sell below this price threshold. If that continues to happen, we are simply dictating prices for the market, which could have given far lower, cheaper prices for the Ghanaian consumer. And I think that era has got to be decided again.
All right. Thank you so much, Duncan Amwa. He's Executive Secretary of COPEC. The minority in Parliament is accusing the government of placing an unbearable burden on Ghanaians through repeated increases in utility tariffs. So, according to the Deputy Ranking Member on Parliament's Energy Committee, Collins Adomako-Mensah, the cumulative 26% rise in utility tariffs under the NDC administration in just 1.5 years amounts to a betrayal of the trust reposed in the government by the Ghanaian people. The minority addressed the media today, outlining its concerns over the latest tariff adjustments and their impact on households and businesses.
Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, announced yet another upward adjustment in electricity tariffs. A 3.49% increase effective 1st July 2026, with water tariffs also going up by 0.85%. This is the latest chapter in an unbroken story of tariff escalation under the John Mahama-led NDC administration. We remember the promises. The NDC campaigned loudly on reducing the cost of utilities, easing the burden on households, and fixing the energy sector. 18 months into their tenure, Ghanaians are paying 26.82% more for electricity than they were when President Mahama took the oath of office. This is a broken promise. Since the NDC government took office in January 2025, Ghanaians have faced a relentless cycle of utility tariff increases. The cumulative data paints a stark and indefensible picture. Q2 of 2025 saw a 14.75% increase. Q3 of 2025 saw a 2.45% increase. Q4 of 2025 saw a 1.15% increase. Q1 of 2026 saw a 9.8% increase. Q2 of 2026 saw a reduction of 4.81%. And the latest Q3 2026 has seen a 3.49% increase. Cumulatively, we have 26.82% if you take out the Q2 reduction.
Let's now cross over to Parliamentary Affairs correspondent James Aveji for more on this press. And now, James, the minority is saying that the 26% cumulative increment amounts to a betrayal of trust. Why are they saying that? All right. So we know that the minority has been speaking in Parliament. Please go ahead.
Yes, yes. The position of the minority is based, according to the deputy ranking member, on the fact that before they left office, the energy sector has been a great campaign platform for the current government, promising in that sector. And so for them to, before they left power, in the same 16 years they took power, if you do a comparative analysis, they have increased tariff by, not up to the 26.8%, but they cushioned that with a 10% salary adjustment for workers, which is not the case according to them under this government. Again, we have left the IMF conditionalities, and so for government to keep increasing the tariffs is a betrayal of the confidence imposed in them by Ghanaians to take them off the IMF conditionalities, which make it imperative on government to make adjustments every window in order to reflect the reality and also be able to pay the debt in the sector. We are out of the IMF conditionalities, and so there was no need for tariff to be increasing. These and others, in fact, they say that the 26.8 cannot support a 24-hour economy as advertised by governments. And so according to them, these are the reasons why they believe that government has betrayed the trust of Ghanaians imposing them when they voted for them in December 2024. Former.
Okay, so what did the minority also say about PURC?
They are asking the PURC to come out and disclose fully how they arrived at that over 3% increments in water and the 0.85% increment in 3.45 in electricity and 0.85 in water increment, because they believe that if you look at the reasons or the justification given by the PURC, the only variable that has increased up slightly is the CD exchange rate, which increased by some 0.8%. And so they don't believe that that should result in a 3.42 increment in electricity tariff. So they want a full disclosure from the PURC to Ghanaians to understand what variables went into that particular upward adjustment to ensure that there's transparency in the work of the PURC.
Okay, we can now listen to them.
The full mathematical basis for every tariff increase since January 2025. Ensure that any future tariff adjustment is accompanied by verifiable improvement in service quality, particularly in addressing the prepaid meter depletion scandal, the persistent power outages, and ECG's billing irregularities. Revisit the 2026 to 2030 multi-year tariff order, which imposed a 9.86% electricity increase at the start of 2026, in light of emerging macroeconomic improvements that the PURC itself has acknowledged. In conclusion, government has repeatedly pointed to the appreciation of the cedi, declining inflation, and lower interest rates as evidence that the economy has turned the corner. If those gains are genuine, Ghanaians should be experiencing them in their daily lives. The electricity sector depends heavily on thermal generation, whose principal input, imported crude oil and imported natural gas, are priced in foreign currency. A cedi that has appreciated by nearly 40% should significantly reduce the domestic cost of these inputs. Falling inflation and easing interest rates should further reduce cost pressures across the economy. Yet, PURC is increasing electricity tariffs once again. This contradiction demands answers. If the strength of the cedi is real, if the decline in inflation is real, and if the reduction in interest rates reflects genuine macroeconomic improvements, why are utility tariffs continuing to rise?
Apart from the minorities press, what else is happening in Parliament today?
Well, Poma, from the business that happened from yesterday, I must say that I'm yet to cite the other paper for today, but what has been in focus in the past few days has been the amendment to the Community Sentencing Bill, popularly called, and the Parliament has made amendment to some 2-3 clauses yesterday. They are yet to finish that, so we would expect that they may visit that in the course of today, as we also expect that some ministers would appear before the House to answer questions that are pending from members.
All right, thank you so much, James Aveji. He's our parliamentary affairs correspondent. Now, mounting concerns over Accra's sanitation challenges as many communities and commercial centres grapple with littered surroundings and waste piling up with the city centre and onto pedestrian walkways and trading spaces despite ongoing efforts to improve cleanliness across the capital. The situation follows recent challenges with some landfill sites reaching capacity, affecting refuse collection and disposal operations. Residents and traders in some of the affected areas say they are increasingly worried about the environmental and public health implications and are calling on authorities to take urgent steps to improve waste collection and management. Right at the intersection of the road leading to the Central Police Barracks, we see this pile of rubbish here, and we understand that this is not the normal collection point, but this has become the situation because the major vehicle that is used in transporting the refuse to the various dumping sites has broken down, and business continues to go on as if there's no problem. Some of the shoppers walking around with handkerchiefs covering their nose because the foul smell coming from this place is nothing to write home about. I've been speaking to some of the traders, shoppers, and also people who live around the area to tell me what they make of the current situation.
We don't like it because every day, by the daybreak, they bring different ones, even more than this. Even today is even normal. So when the Caterpillar come and is trying to pack the goods everywhere, scatter the road, or the car is not even passing.
We have those junkies who have been dropping the bola here, and the AMA refuse car have been collecting it every day. But since yesterday, they haven't come. So the best solution is if they can stop those people, those junkie guys who have been dropped, if they can have a security.
What do you mean by the junkie guys? Is it the tricycle operators who take this refuse?
No, those, how do I put it? Those boys, they
go around picking rubbish from people's shops and... Okay.
Yes. So they normally come and drop it here. And it's not only this place. I think you saw some at the top there. So if they can have a security, maybe a task force who will come here during the night to be checking on the see, just look at one. He just dropped one. So they are the cause.
The private waste collectors dump their refuse here. When we see them, we beat them up or send them away. This pile wasn't here 3 days ago, but we came to meet this yesterday. I have even gotten sick.
Oh, madam, as the waste continues to accumulate, residents and business operators within the Central Business District are calling on authorities to ensure and enforce proper waste disposal within the commercial center. For Joy News, Michelle Latte, Central Business District, Accra. Well, the Executive Secretary of the Environmental Service Providers Association, Ama Ofori-Entry, says the buildup of waste is due to the failure of assemblies to provide designated disposal sites as required under bylaws, among other infrastructural challenges. She's therefore calling for urgent investment in waste infrastructure to improve operations.
We are having challenges with the final disposal site. When you take the whole of the Greater Accra metropolitan area, they don't have any designated place to dump. And per the bylaws of the assemblies, they are supposed to provide the final disposal site. And we are having infrastructure challenge. When you take Accra now, the Gamma area, They are all going to the Adepa landfills, which is in Sawam at Juwejri. Once population is increasing, the waste generation also increases. And we're not putting proper systems and structure to contain the waste being generated. We have a lot of illegal dump sites in the city that also receive the waste. And they are managed partly, the place to dump. They end up putting them in the drains and behind people's houses and what have you. So you realize that we have a lot of illegal dump sites sited all over the city. And all this is as a result of the system, the waste management system broken down. We need a coordinated response to work with the informal sector, provide transfer stations for them so that they can easily offload their waste and do their work.
Now, away from our current sanitation crisis, the family of Apostle Kojo Kantanka is raising concerns over what it describes as the failure of police to diligently prosecute suspects initially arrested in connection with the case. The group argues that investigators did not pursue the attempted murder charge with the urgency and seriousness it deserved and is now demanding tougher prosecution of those arrested. The comments come on the back of a shooting incident of former Member of Parliament Domeko Abenya Adwa Safo Kantanka, which resulted in the hospitalization of the former Member of Parliament. Now, according to the family, consultations with medical experts point to complications arising from the incident with the consideration of the possible Member of Parliament out of the country for further treatment.
Condition of Adwa Safo, I would say, if it's in percentage, I would say 50-50. It's just very bad. She's been through surgical operations, MRIs, checkups, almost every day. The last one was yesterday, around 8 p.m. She was there. She can't even hear word now. I don't know whether she has any of the pellets in the ears or they try to remove some from the ears. And I understand the head also there's a possibility of someone's entry. So they are working on it. So as we speak now, some of the doctors are advising that the way the condition is, they would advise that do everything possible to fly out. They suggested 3 places for us. They suggested Dubai, they suggested Germany, and then America. So this morning from here, that's a decision to take. Well, I said 50-50.
50-50.
The worst thing is that if they tell me today Adwa is dead, I will not even doubt them. But yesterday it was very bad. She has started swelling. Look at the face. Adwa's face is so smooth. Now, because of the entry of some of the pellets, now her face is bloated, the head is becoming big, and she can't even raise the hand. So she's almost like prostrate, lying down, 90%. So that's a situation. We need your prayers.
Right. The suspects have been granted bail.
Yep.
We are clearly not happy about this.
Not at all.
What are your demands?
Not at all. We need justice. I mean, in Ghana these days, as we speak now, most of these people that we have them incarcerated now, what we hear, all we hear is that their statement or their actions were trying to injure the reputation or something of somebody. Just trying to injure somebody's reputation without gun or whatever. The people were even incarcerated. They put them in. Now somebody who point a gun at you, a not ordinary person. If it's a layman who can just say maybe fire you, but because you're not expert, you might mix the bullet. But now these are expert guys.
These are trained people.
They are trained people, very trained. You know, when they say the videos that trending around, they will say that kneel down, they know they'll mention the person's name before even shooting. I mean, these are people that we're all expecting at least. They should at least be remanded for investigation to continue.
Late Apostle Kojo Safo Kantanka, Kojo Safo Jr., speaking at a press conference earlier today, says the impact on the family has been devastating and insists their father would have been deeply disappointed by the handling of the matter.
There were elders before me, so I think that one would depend on the elders. They would have the better track record. Yes.
Have you spoken to your brother in question?
Have I spoken
after the incident?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Everybody and the one our father paired you with. So the person I talk to mostly on phone is Joshi.
Okay. And has there been any communications
with Joshi?
With Joshi.
No, Joshi. We always talking. We talk almost. Yes, we talk almost every day. But that's what I'm saying. That our father paired us. So everybody and the one you run to. So our father has this type of system whereby, with me, the boy, if I do something, my father will call Joshi first. Then my father will tell Joshi to report me to Honorable Ajua Safo before the case gets to my father. So that's how it is done. So till date, I talk to Joshi almost every day. Yes. So my other brother too was paired with another sister. Another brother too was paired with another sister. Yes. So that's the concept of it.
My colleague Stephen Mensah was in the constituency and joins me more on this. Stephen, the family has been shedding more light on the circumstances leading to the shooting. What have you learned?
So, according to the family, they say that the circumstances surrounding this incident is very worrying, and it's quite disturbing for them. In fact, I've been speaking to the brother for the former member of parliament for Domo Kwabenya, that's in the person of Kojo Safu Jr. He's been telling us about the fact that prior to this incident, his father had laid down some clear guidelines as to who is to succeed him in regards to the church. And he says that before the former member of parliament went to the incident site, or where she met her accident or the incident, she told him to go with her to the coronation to host the coronation, given the injunction that had been placed on the coronation by the court. And he's been telling us about the fact that his father had given some clear guidelines as to pairing the two before and after the incident, and after his death. His father had laid some clear guidelines as to who is to succeed him. We can listen to Kojo Safu Jr., who has been telling us about the circumstances surrounding this whole event.
You'll be very gutted and very disappointed. Now, Adia Kosi, make a check with us for my say. Say, we were fan. Said you, ya papa ni dini ya den, yes, say no more. If it's a bear kakra, you cry papa TV, here per se a try papa Jumaswa. Any investor we call on to help our company, they'll be obdurate about helping us. So whatever is happening now, it has its own repercussions. Pastor said I make a match here. Now you make penny a dana say. Obi anim say many honorable na ko ba bia bom. Honorable friend say o ko ho no. Yakopon to me so. It's your first Kojo friend enuanom na ye nhia wo ho. Ne ani omo nkasa say bio. Yes ye na be twan our father's last testament. Iti de papa be chusu no. Yan kasa ne ebe so ye nua nim de na tena akonya ne so. Ne nya ye twa ye nua kro ne ho ahia.
Stephen, you've also been speaking to some members of the church. What are they saying?
Well, many of these members of the church we spoke to, they said this situation is very worrying for them, and they say that they will need a clear instruction from the family as to who is to lead the church. And they said this is worrying because the services will be coming on anytime soon, and they will need some information as to how processes will go during and after the father's funeral. And we understand that the father's funeral is in some 40 days, and some of these members of the church we spoke to say they need to understand what and who is in charge of the church as the father's funeral approaches.
All right, thank you so much, Stephen Mensah, for bringing us that update. We'll be bringing subsequent updates on Ajua Safo and the situation to you in our subsequent bulletins. But moving on, the Chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Otumfuo Seti II, has warned chiefs and other individuals against laying claim to lands belonging to the university. The Asantehene observed some individuals, including persons connected to the university and external actors, are joining forces to obtain court documents to claim portions of KNUST land for personal gain. Speaking during activities marking KNUST's 75th anniversary, he cautioned that these legal attempts would carry consequences for those involved, emphasizing that the institution's lands are not subject to private ownership.
trade between my uncle and Kwame Nkrumah, saying that, okay, you offer me the land and I'll build a school. So he said, I'll give you the land. My brother then was a surveyor at the lands department. And so Tufo Kukwere, that was Matthew Kuku at that time, who was charged to demarcate all this land for the purpose of building this university. That is why my heart is here. Not a piece of this land will be given to anybody. The land belongs to the Goldens too. The chiefs are caretakers. No Busuapani has a land. The lands are all vested in the stools. Anyone within 3 years to wherever it is who condones with the people to take matters of land to court just because you can get a judgment of 1,000 and something acres of the university land for you to go and sell it wherever, I say no. There's a collusion both within and outside. And I wonder why some lawyers would want to do that when you are also a trained professional and the land belonging to a university, and someone comes to you to say this land is for me, and you support him to take to court. With all due respect, professionalism does not necessarily mean that any case at all must be taken to court when you know that this land is for the university. Therefore, those who are attempting to do that, I am not going to allow that, no matter what.
And let's move to some other stories. As the world rapidly shifts toward an era driven by artificial intelligence and big data, the demand for cutting-edge technical expertise has never been higher. In a major push toward advancing digital transformation and capacity building across the African continent, a Canada-based assistant professor in data science analytics is urging Africa to use data science to solve its myriad of problems. Professor Andy Asare, who has over 15 years of experience teaching data science and analytics programs in tertiary institutions in Canada, China, and Ghana, observed data science is fundamental to solving complex national challenges facing Africa. The assistant professor in data science analytics at the University of Calgary is heralding an upcoming virtual data science conference aimed at empowering the next generation of African tech talent. There's more in the following report.
The initiative comes at a pivotal moment as Ghana and other African nations rapidly accelerate their integration of artificial intelligence and data-driven technologies into key economic sectors. Professor Andy Asare brings over 12 years of experience teaching data science and analytics programs in tertiary institutions in Canada to the free virtual conference on Saturday, 27th of June 2026. The conference is part of a broader sustained effort to build robust data ecosystems in developing nations, especially in Africa. His expertise spans artificial intelligence analytics, educational technologies, supply chain analytics, and the responsible use of artificial intelligence. Professor Andy Asare believes data science can improve health delivery systems, agriculture, education, transportation, financial inclusion, and even government services.
Countries such as Ghana, Kenya, Rwanda, Nigeria, and South Africa are increasingly recognizing the strategic importance of AI and data-driven innovation as a catalyst for economic growth and national development. In Ghana, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama recently launched a landmark $250 million national artificial intelligence strategy aimed at accelerating digital transformation and economic growth. Now, during the launch, he emphasized that the strategy represents a clear commitment that Ghana will not remain a passive consumer of emerging technologies, but will actively design, govern, and deploy AI solutions to drive national transformation and global competitiveness. In addition, across the continent, several countries have already established comprehensive national AI strategies. Countries such as Morocco, Egypt, Rwanda, Mauritius, and Tunisia have all taken significant steps or approach to position themselves as regional leaders in AI innovation.
But now we take a break for business. We'll be right back.
My name is Darryl Kwao. In a first-of-its-kind initiative, Ghana's financial regulators and industry leaders have converged at Kuala Lumpur for an intensive 5-day training on non-interest banking, capital markets, and TACAFO. The program, organized by the Islamic Finance Research Institute of Ghana in collaboration with Malaysia's International Islamic University, aims to build local capacity and lay the groundwork for dual banking system in Ghana. Anna Sabit reports from Malaysia.
It is the heartbeat of Southeast Asian finance, a skyline of glass and steel where East meets West and where a quiet financial transformation has been thriving for decades. But this week, the corridors of power in Kuala Lumpur are echoing with a distinct West African accent. Ghana's financial elites have traded the shores of the Atlantic for the tropics of Malaysia. The mission? To crack the code on non-interest banking, an alternative financial system that many believe could be the silver bullet for Ghana's development woes. Leading the charge is Dr. Ali Shaibu, Director General of the Islamic Finance Research Institute of Ghana, IFRIC. He isn't just looking for a banking model, he is looking for a lifeline to lift millions out of poverty.
It was very clear that there is a need for us to continue capacity building, to build the capacity of the regulators and as well as the industry players, for them to be able to drive the non-interest banking system the way it's supposed to be, so that once they go back, they can be able to implement it and implement it very well. The agenda is very, very simple. Non-interest banking is there to help people, move above the poverty line and so on. So it's something that is inclusive for everyone.
The training is a high-level collaboration between IFRIC and the Center for Islamic Economics at the International Islamic University of Malaysia. But the most pressing lesson being taught here is for the skeptics. Atairu Machidu, a lead trainer and managing director of Trustmark Company Limited, is on a mission to debunk the myths. He insists that this finance isn't about religion, it is about humanity.
Ghana actually, both Christian and Muslim, accepted this particular mode of financing with their full hands because they realized that all the prohibitions that are enshrined in this non-interest banking and finance, they are not only in the Quran, they are equally in the Old Testament as well as the New Testament and the Catholic activities that are there. So as a result of that, they all accepted it. So all Christian and Muslims should emulate and take it with their full hands to see how they can provide advantages to their people.
Well, turning to other news, First Deputy Speaker of Parliament Bernard Ahiafo is urging Ghanaian businesses to take advantage of opportunities beyond the country's borders to expand trade and drive economic growth. According to him, the country's small and medium-sized enterprises have the potential to make a significant contribution to the economy if they actively engage with international markets. He was speaking at the 12th World Cooperation Industries Forum, which brought together businesses from Ghana and Turkey to strengthen trade and investment relations.
The 12th World Cooperation Industries Forum highlighted growing economic partnership between Ghana and Turkey, with discussions centered on technology transfer, manufacturing, industrial investment, and trade expansion. The forum brought together policymakers, investors, and businesses from both countries to explore opportunities for collaboration and sustainable growth. Delivering his keynote address, First Deputy Speaker of Parliament Bernard Ahiafo called on businesses to leverage the existing ties between Ghana and Turkey to unlock new markets, attract investment, and create jobs.
We recognize that the future prosperity of our economies will depend increasingly on our ability to build bridges across nations, connect markets, facilitate innovation, and create opportunities that transcend borders. The significance of this forum extends far beyond networking and commercial engagement. It is a platform for dialogue.
Turkish Ambassador to Ghana, Hussein Gungo, emphasized the need for both countries to create a conducive business environment that supports investment, innovation, and private sector growth.
Since I came here, what I noticed is there is great potential here, and through correct measures, correct ways, and especially introducing businesses to businesses, we can create a lot of opportunities for both countries. Don't forget, this is win-win. In the morning I said, thanks God, there is now local ownership, so there is a strategic partner in Ghana, and there is also local content. ABSA is here, and I hope ABSA will support many new partnerships. Almost all of them are SMEs, and you know, SMEs are the engine.
President of the World Corporation Industries Forum, Utku Bengisu, also encouraged businesses to pursue strategic partnerships that deliver mutual benefits and contribute to the economic development of both nations.
Today, nearly 100 Turkish business leaders and manufacturers have traveled thousands of kilometers to meet with you. I encourage every one of you, please visit all stands, walk around every table, meet every Turkish company, touch their products, ask questions, spend your time here, because every great partnership starts with a simple conversation. Every major investment starts with a small step.
The 12th World Corporation Industries Forum is expected to pave the way for deeper partnerships while creating opportunities for businesses in both countries to expand their reach and competitiveness in the global market.
And that's business. Showbiz is up next.
And it's time now for Showbiz. I am Loy Shola Adeyemi. Let's get into our stories. Can you believe it's been 20 years? Yes. Back in 2006, Ghana's music industry was in full flight, producing hit after hit and giving fans songs that became the soundtrack to everyday life. Now, from radio airplay and packed dance floors to weddings, parties, and street corners, these tracks were impossible to escape. 2 decades later, many of those same songs still spark sing-alongs, fill dance floors, and transport listeners back to a golden era of Ghanaian music. Their lasting appeal is proof that while trends may come and go, great music never goes out of style.
20 years ago, Ghana's music industry delivered a collection of hits that will go on to become timeless classics, shaping a generation and leaving a lasting mark on the nation's musical landscape. Leading the charge was Oforian Ponce's Odolede, a contemporary high-life masterpiece that dominated airwaves, packed dance floors, and swept major honors at the 2006 Ghana Music Awards. Miss Bell teamed up with Castro on 16 Years, producing a catchy anthem that quickly became one of the year's biggest street hits and a favorite among music lovers. Pryor also cemented their place in Ghanaian music history with Shorty, an infectious dance floor favorite that helped establish the trio as one of hip life's most successful groups. KK Ike Fosu alongside Logozo got the nation moving with Shawase, an energetic hit that became an instant crowd pleaser and remains a nostalgic favorite to this day. And FBS kept the celebrations going with Oluma Boogie, a song that became a fixture at parties, weddings, and community gatherings across the country. 2 decades later, these songs continue to resonate with audiences, filling dance floors, inspiring sing-alongs, and transporting listeners back to one of the most memorable periods in Ghanaian music. From high life to hip life, the class of 2006 proved that great music never fades. Its true legacy lies not just in the charts it topped, but in the memories it continues to create.
Keep the pace, not the race. Moving away from that, love, betrayal, secrets, and explosive family drama. That's the formula behind Netflix's South African hit, The Polygamist, one of the most talked about series on social media. Since its release, the show has sparked intense debate, with viewers divided over whether its story is truly about polygamy or simply infidelity and deception. Others are hooked by its shocking twist and emotional confrontations. Well, whatever the reason, The Polygamist has become a streaming sensation and a major talking point online.
Netflix The Polygamist has quickly emerged as one of the streaming platform's most talked about African dramas, sparking conversations across social media and beyond.
It's not just you.
Yeah, sure. The South African series follows wealthy businessman Jonas Gomora, whose seemingly perfect life begins to unravel as long-buried secrets, betrayal, and tangled relationships come to light. Despite its title, many viewers argue the show goes beyond polygamy, exploring themes of deception, infidelity, trust, and the far-reaching consequences of living a double life. Online discussions have been intense, with fans fiercely debating the actions of the show's characters, defending some while holding others accountable for the chaos that unfolds. Filled with revenge, family drama, emotional confrontations, and shocking plot twists, The Polygamist has become a binge-worthy favorite for audiences across the continent.
Hey, that's my husband. Yeah? That's my husband.
Whether viewers are tuning in for the gripping storyline or joining the heated online debates, one thing is certain: The Polygamist has cemented its place as one of Africa's biggest streaming sensations of the year.
Well, that's it for Showbiz. I am JoyNews Today. For more entertainment stories, please do log on to myjoyonline.com. Over to you, Poma. I hope and pray that you don't find yourself a polygamist.
I pray and hope so too, Shola. There's a lot of noise about it on social media. Yes. I'll make time and watch. But thank you for bringing our Showbiz. That's it for JN Today. For more news, I know a place. Please log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Denise Apomaide. Have a very good afternoon.